This is the second part of my video on Robert Browning's The Patriot. So already I have completed the first three stanzas of the poem, the first three sections in my previous video. So I'm going to continue with the next section, the fourth stanza of the poem in this video. There's nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied few at the windows set. For the best of the sight is, all allow, at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot I trow. So the patriot is speaking to the silent listener, and he says that 1 year ago and today are 2 days which are completely contrasted. On one hand, 1 year ago, I was welcomed grandly by the public. People were crowding on the housetops to welcome me, to just have a glimpse of me. But look at me today. There is nobody to welcome me. There is nobody to throw rose petals to me. There is no one at the housetops because most of the people agreed, most of the people realized that the best site is actually at the spot where I shall be executed. So, from this point, we realize that this man, this patriot, is now moving towards his final journey. He is going to be executed. He might have committed some crime which is not specified in this whole poem, but because of that crime or mistake or whatever it is, the person has been decreed, ordered to be killed. And see the callousness of the people who had welcomed him so heartily a few months ago, just a year ago. Those same people have now gathered around the scaffold, around the place where this man will be killed, to see the best sight. How unsympathetic of these people. But here you need to understand the viewpoint of the public also. For the public, he is now a villain, a criminal, and we all like the villain to be punished. We all enjoy, while watching a movie, we all enjoy the scene when the villain is brutally beaten up by the hero. So there is nothing wrong if the people feels excited to see the execution, the killing of this person, because for the people he is not a patriot anymore, he is a villain. So the people, in order to get the best view of this execution, of this killing of the man, they have gathered in front of the scaffold where this man will be killed. But a few people who are palsied means paralyzed. So a few people who are maybe very old, or because they are diseased or they are paralyzed, they can't move. So they are sitting on the window to see him pass by. So as he is passing by through the streets of the city, approaching towards the scaffold is the raised platform on which this criminal, this person is going to be executed. Normally, in the European society, every major city had scaffolds where public executions used to take place. A convict, or maybe a criminal, I should use the word, a criminal who had been sentenced guilty by the king would be brought to that scaffold, to that platform, and then publicly murdered, maybe by guillotining, by cutting his head, or maybe by hanging him, or sometimes stoning him, sometimes burning him. Whatever the method may be, that person will be brought there, and then that person will be killed in full view of the public, so that it becomes an example for the society that if you do such a crime, you are also going to face such an execution. So here our patriot, he is approaching towards that scaffold, and those people who are not very healthy, who could not go into the crowd to see the fun, they are sitting at the windows and watching him move forward. And the remaining, they have all gone to the shambles gate, because they know that it's best to see the things live. The best of sight That means the best view, the best vision will be available at the Shambles Gate. So Shambles Gate is basically the gate, the entry point to enter into that arena or maybe that zone where the scaffold is present. So some people will be standing at the gate, and some people who are even luckier, they would enter inside the gate and stand just at the foot of that pedestal, just at the foot of that platform, where they can see the execution from very near. They can have a perfect view of the execution. At the Shambles Gate, or better yet, the very scaffold's foot, I throw. Throw means I walk towards. So the direction I am walking towards is the Shambles Gate. I will pass the Shambles Gate and enter into the scaffold, and there most of the people have crowded to see my execution publicly. Coming to the fifth section now. I go in the rain, and more than needs, a rope cuts both my wrists behind. And I think by the feel my forehead bleeds, for they fling whoever has a mind stones at me for my ears misdeed. So you see, this stanza is even more contrasted to the first and second stanza, because here we see exactly opposite reaction of the public. The public who were throwing rose petals are now throwing stones to him. The public who were waving flags to welcome him have now tied his hand at his back in such a tight way that the rope is cutting his wrist. The patriot thinks that it's unnecessary. Already I am in chains. Already guards are around me. So it's not necessary to tie my hands. But in order to make his situation even more miserable, the guards or maybe the people have tied his hand so tightly with the rope that his skin is getting rubbed by the rough edges of the rope and cutting his skin. And he's this time going through the rain. It's not a rain of flower petals, it's just the rain of water. Is it symbolically Mother Nature weeping at the fate of this man? Of course it can be. And again in literature we have a figure of speech called pathetic fallacy. Pathetic fallacy means when nature expresses its sorrow at the situation of mankind. So here the situation of the patriot is indeed very pathetic. The man who was celebrated as a hero just 1 year ago is now being dragged to his death. So obviously the situation has changed, and for Mother Nature, who is the universal mother, she could not contain her emotion and she is weeping, and these raindrops are nothing but the teardrops of Mother Nature. So this is a pathetic fallacy. It's raining, our patriot is moving, and his wrists are tied behind tightly with a rope, and he can feel it. He realizes, although he can't see the blood, but he can realize because of the pain that his forehead must have been cut and he must be bleeding because people had thrown stones to him. Now what does this line whoever has a mind mean? Whoever has a mind means whoever wishes. Whomsoever wishes, because he is a villain, feel free to torture him as you wish. It's not that people will prevent you, that already he is getting punished, already he is going to be murdered. Don't make his situation even more miserable by throwing stones at him. No, there is no such prevention taken. Rather, whoever wants, whoever has a mind, whoever has a desire, they are taking a stone and throwing it at him as if to settle a personal grudge against this man. So why everyone is reacting this way to this man? Because of the misdeeds that this man had done in the previous year. What misdeed? nobody knows, it's not specified here. So I will give you some examples at the end of the poem. Please follow the video so that I can explain you what can be the misdeeds possibly. Coming to the last section, the sixth section. Now, sixth section is basically ending the poem in a note of hope and optimism. So sometimes I have noticed this question is also coming, that does the poem end with cynicism or pessimism or optimism? Cynicism and pessimism are negative. They are hopelessness. They are thinking about something bad to be happening. But in this particular poem, no, it ends with a positive note, because despite being tortured so brutally by the people, our patriot has not given up hope. He ends the poem with a hope, hope in the name of God. So this is a very, very essential feature of the poetry of early Victorian period. Robert Browning and his time had immense faith in God. This was a time when Charles Darwin had not yet published his very famous book on the origin of species, and therefore the doubt and confusion that the later Victorians had about existence of God was not present at this particular time. Therefore, people had full faith in God. There is a play by Robert Browning called Pippa Passes. In that play, there is a young girl, Pippa, who crosses all difficulties in life just by saying that God is in heaven and everything is okay. That was the general tendency, the general attitude of the people in the Victorian society, that God is in heaven and everything is okay, everything is all right. So that optimism, that positivity ends this poem as well. So despite so much negative happening to the man still has hope in God, faith in God. So he says, thus I entered and thus I go. So see how I entered the stage, how I entered the town, and see how I am going. I entered as a hero and I'm going as a villain. In such triumphs, people have dropped down dead. Please note, dropped down dead. There is a repetition of the D sound. So this is of course alliteration. So triumph means victory. Now at the moment of victory, people celebrated me. But as that moment passed, people have threw me. People have just given me up. Paid by the world, what dost thou owe me? God might question. He says that after I die, he is certain that he is going to go to heaven, not to hell. Because this particular man is sure that he has not done anything bad. He has not done anything wrong. So that is why he knows that from inside, I am all right. I will go to heaven. And when God asks me that, are you satisfied with the payment that you received from your fellow human beings? Are you satisfied with what you got from mankind? What should be the reaction of our poet? What should be the reaction of the patriot? Now instead, it is God shall repay, I am safer so. He says that my reaction will be, no, I did not get what I deserved in this earth. But I am still hopeful that in heaven I shall be repaid of what I deserve. Because I deserve something much better, and God whose justice is infallible, whose justice can never fail, will surely do justice to me, will surely give me what I truly deserve. With that hope, I am going ahead. Maybe I did not get what I deserve in this earth, but after this life is over and I go and meet my maker face to face, I go and meet God face to face, I shall tell him that now you repay me, you pay me what I deserve. So according to my deservingness, I am going to be paid by God. Maybe man misunderstood me, but God will definitely not misunderstand me. So in earth I was not safe, but in heaven I shall be safer. So with that hope, The poet is ending the poem with a note of extreme optimism. Now, as I said, what can be the mistake of this man? So, just remember some of the classical legends or maybe some of the historic episodes that will bring to your mind what can be the mistake of this man. Remember the story of Joan of Arc, the young French girl who had saved France from a very massive defeat from the hands of England. When France had almost given up hope of victory, England was winning. This young girl gathered the support of the ordinary peasants and she made them fight for their motherland. And because of that surge of nationalism in France, the peasants were able to defend their country and defeat the English forces. But instead of getting rewarded as a heroine by the people, this Joan of Arc was later burnt to death. Although she was later canonized as Saint Joan, but we need to understand that people did not repay her what she deserved. She was rather punished for all her great achievements. People mistook her, misunderstood her achievements. Again, even better example will be of Jesus Christ himself. We see that Jesus Christ came to this earth to spread the message of humanity, to teach man to love human beings, his fellow beings. But man failed to realize his message, to realize his value, and crucified Christ. So, did Christ get from man what he deserved? Of course not. He taught man the message of love, but he got only hatred and torture from mankind, brutally tortured and murdered. You see, the poem has a number of similarities, number of parallels with crucifixion of Christ. Christ was made to carry his own cross on his shoulder up the hill. This man was also something like that. He had to walk all the way with his hand tied tight and he was bleeding. And the public, instead of protesting against the killing of this man, they had gathered to see the fun of his execution. Same thing happened with Christ also. He was crucified, and the messenger of God who came to give the message of peace and harmony was murdered brutally after being tortured. So the references to the blood or the references to the scaffold are all drawing parallels between the story of the patriot and that of Christ. So it's not possible to exactly say that Christ was this patriot or Joan of Arc was this patriot, or there can be other stories also, but it is a universal situation. It is a situation where anyone who tries to do good or maybe goes beyond the limit doing something good for people, it's not necessary that the people will understand that goodness and reward him. It's quite possible that people will misunderstand that goodness and punish him. So that is the message that the poem Patriot is giving, and that's all for the discussion. Thank you.